This video is powered by the pros at Pascal Air Plumbing and Electric. Arkansas owned, Arkansas operated. GoPascal.com.
Let's talk with Dave Van Horn, head coach of Arkansas baseball, entering his 22nd year at the helm. Dave, appreciate your time today. Thank you so much. How you doing?
Doing great. The weather's giving us a little break, so get to be outside. It makes you feel a little bit better about what's coming down the road here.
Yeah. So what is coming down the road here then? Are you talking about the start of the season or just some weather that's coming on the weekend?
Talking about the start of the season.
Okay.
And you're going to be inside for 3 or 4 weeks straight. It's tough to open up without getting a little time on the real field. So we're excited to get out a little bit.
I know you guys were able to scrimmage 3 times this past weekend. Well, Monday too. We know where some of the position battles are going into the season. There are assumed starters at a number of positions, including starting pitching. I want to ask about catching. Now, I've heard you describe like the reason why you've got 4 catchers that you're sort of shuffling around right now, all of them hitting, playing well. How do you think you handle catching, or do you worry about how you handle this for the start of the season? Because right now you got 15 days until the season starts, and I know all 4 of your catchers are hitting and they're catching well too.
Yeah, it's a really good problem to have, and it's one that I really haven't had to deal with in the past. A lot of times you have maybe 2 catchers, and one of them's a lot better than the other one. Maybe you have a young one hanging out or whatever the case may be. But, the way it all went down, and you kind of know how it, I guess, happened, is that we felt like we needed to get a transfer catcher with some experience because we thought our freshman that we had signed would probably sign a professional contract and not make it here. Well, he made it here. We also got a transfer, and then we have 2 older kids back, and there you have it. So, the interesting thing, Hudson Wright coming from Texas Tech, he caught and DH'd and did a little bit of everything for him, but he always hit. Well, he's really improved as a catcher being here. I think that our coaches have done a tremendous job with him. Bobby Warness working with him every day, and then just all the technology. We can show him what he does wrong and right, and how he makes pitchers look better than they are or look, worse than they are. So he's really, really done a good job of learning. Then our freshman, Ryder Helfrich, very, very talented young man, super strong, athletic, plus arm, he's got power. Both of those kids could actually play in the field in another position if they need to. And then, then we have Parker Rollenback that caught probably 80% of our games last year, and Hudson Polk's swung the bat better than I've ever seen him. So, yeah, it's a little bit of an issue, but it's a good issue to have, and we'll work it out.
When it comes to figuring out who's catching, and I really, watching Helfrich, he looks like a catcher for the future, obviously. He's strong. He doesn't look like a freshman. But I wonder, we assume that one of the huge strengths of this team is starting pitching, and I think you probably have a really strong bullpen as well. Catching has to be a part of that, so that also is going to have to factor into this decision. Tell me about Helfrich as a catcher specifically, because you have said that he can play some other positions. Maybe that's in the cards for him, but as a catcher, how do you think it shakes out for him right now?
Well, he's as good a receiver as we have. If you look at the numbers on how he's done analytically, he's been amazing. Now, he had an inning or 2 where he looked like a freshman, honestly. But, he makes pitchers look better than they are. And I think the pitchers really like throwing to him. So that makes it easier to write his name in the lineup if you have one of your guys that is your weekend starters or whatever the case may be. They have no problem throwing to him. And he actually has a little feel for calling pitches, too. So that's a plus. And that's one thing we let our catchers kind of do and prove to us that they have feel and they know what's up. And with scouting reports and then just knowledge of what the hitter's all about, they can make some good decision on some pitches and location. We can always chime in through the headset, but and we do. But, he's very, very good back there.
Coach, Matt Jones here, big fan of yours. You've been here 22 years, and I've loved following your career. How is this NIL? What is your message to these kids when you're recruiting? And how has NIL really changed your message? How has your message changed in 22 years that you've been up there?
Yeah, it's first off, I'm glad the student athletes have an opportunity to make some money, especially in our sport. Baseball, we get 11.7 scholarships. We don't even have 12 full scholarships for, our roster, if you look at it. And that's, it's not 12. You get 12 for every class. You get 12 for 4 classes. So it's very difficult. And, these kids are leaving out of here that are really good players, and they owe a lot of money, loans and different things. And now with NIL, they can get some help there. And it's just, recruiting with it is it's very touchy. I even have to watch what I say. It's like the rules, and man, it's interesting. I just wish it was more cut and dried. And don't say maybe you should put a limit on it, but I guess in professional sports they have a salary cap and different things. And there's some that have, and some that have some. There's some that have a lot more than others, and could really get separated talent-wise down the road. I mean, we're holding our own right now with recruiting, and we feel like we can coach them and get the best out of them. But when you really start looking at it, if the team's just loaded with NIL money plus scholarships, it can get to the point where it's going to be tough to handle them. So I'm good with it. I wish we had more NIL money. I'll say that. I mean, that's a fact. And we've been smart with it. We're not just slinging it around. We're trying to recruit the right kids and lead them maybe to where they can get some. But, yeah, it's a little difficult.
I feel like college baseball coaches were better set up for the current state of college athletics with the ability to transfer and everything, just because there's been more player movement in college baseball than I think any other sport within the last 20, 30 years anyway. Where it feels, Dave, where it might be a little more difficult putting a roster together is the timing of the draft, which, comes in July now instead of June, and that 1 month makes such a huge difference. I know you've said that's a main reason why you got 4 catchers that you got to, have this position battle for. I mean, that's what really seems to be the difficult thing of putting a team together, because otherwise you kind of been used to all this movement.
The interesting thing about that, Phil, is that, the only people that want the draft in July are the owners, because they think it's pretty cool to have it around the All-Star game. Well, the GMs and the minor league people, man, they want to have it in June. They want to get these kids in their system. They want to get them drafted. It makes so much more sense. But, nobody really – I won't say nobody really cares. The All-Star game is what it is. It doesn't make any sense. College baseball and MLB, man, we've got a better relationship than we've had in decades, it seems like. And now, they push that back, and it's put a kink in recruiting, and it hurts kids too, because there's some coaches, and not saying we haven't had to make some tough phone calls after the draft in July, and the kid's planning on being here in a month, and we're like, hey, this guy didn't get drafted, that guy didn't get drafted, we got these guys coming back, and your chance of playing is slim and none. You probably ought to do something else. It's horrible, honestly. It's roster movement is what it is, and it seems like the last few years, become more of a general manager. Roster is huge, in the summer, and where it just consumes my every minute of it. Once our season's over, it can't really, almost to the point where you're out recruiting and you're on the phone discussing things on roster, and or having to be here in the office instead of going on the road, because you got to meet some kids that are getting in the portal, and it's different. But the way I look at it, and I tell our coaches is, you either better embrace it or you better go do something else.
We got a few more minutes here with head coach Dave Van Horn from Arkansas baseball. There's another position I wanted to bring up, and maybe two of them, because we brought up catching. I want to ask about third base and left field, and maybe there are a couple of players that maybe figure into both positions. I'm thinking maybe a Jason Jones, Peyton Holt at third base, Edmondson maybe left field. What do you think about these two positions, and what do you want from the guy who is playing there opening day?
Well, at third base right now, it's Peyton Holt and then a transferred Jared Sprague-Lott. Sprague-Lott he can play anywhere in the infield. As of right now, he's our backup shortstop, probably our backup. Maybe not second baseman, because if Holt was playing third and something happened to Stovall, I'd probably, that was going to be long term, I would probably, make that switch and put Sprague-Lott at third. But he's definitely our backup shortstop. He can play second. He's really good at first. And he defensively at third, he may be our best defender at third. What Holt brings is maybe a little more bat, we'll see, and some energy and, kind of a spark plug. So, I'd say Holt is, winning that job now. Sprague-Lott is right there. And he's a kid, he played Richmond 3 years and he hit 300 every year. So it's a different league here. Might not do it here. You talk about left field. Right now, I've got Jason Jones as our starting left fielder. We've been working him out there since late fall. Been swinging the bat really well in practice, and if he can hit for us like we know he can and will one day, it will really, really give us a boost to our offense.
Coach, what young player so far has really surprised you or really impressed you?
Well, probably one we talked about the most was Ryder Helfrich. I mean, he's a true freshman, and he's already hit a home run in scrimmage and a real scrimmage, and hit a bunch last fall, and he handles the pitchers well. And then it's some pitchers. We've had really some good luck with some pitchers. You talk about Colin Fisher from Oklahoma City area lefty. He can really pitch, and he throws strikes. He's been amazing. Hunter Dietz, who we won't get for a while, is incredibly good, incredibly talented. He'll be ready to pitch for us. Hopefully, we're hoping like mid-April, maybe a little earlier. We'll see from there. And then everybody's talked about Gabe Gackle and his velocity. And, I like Tate McGuire, another right-hander. He's really done a good job for us. So named a lot of pitchers that are young, but they all throw strikes, and they should help us this year. And I'm hoping the second half of the season those guys are, acclimated. They're done with the nerves, and they go do what they can do. And those guys should gain a lot of experience that will lead into hopefully the postseason and into next year.
Let's close on a thought on what everybody thinks is the number one strength of your team, and that's starting pitching. There's Hagen Smith, there's Brady Tigert, there's Mason Molina. Wonder about the fourth starter, and we'll probably find that out the first weekend, maybe Ben Bybee. But in the first three, there's a certain level of talent from each of them, yes. But they're also experienced. These are guys that have been around the game and pitched in some really pressure-packed situations. To me, that stands out too.
Yeah, and that's what I didn't know you were going to mention that. I started to interrupt you. That's what I was going to say. And they have experience. Hagen, he's done it all here. He's closed games. He's been a middle guy. He's been a starter. I mean, we pitched him 2 years ago, and with 2 innings to play, and looked like we were about ready to let that regional championship game slip to Oklahoma State. We went to a freshman there, and he got it done. And last year he was amazing. Kind of ran out of gas at the end of the year. He's ready to be a full-time starter, lead our pitching staff. Mason Molina, a transfer from Texas Tech, was their Friday night starter. He's not a super hard thrower, still throws in the 90s, can throw at 93 if he needs to, but plus change-up, high carry fastball is really hard to hit, hard to get on top of it. Our guys don't like hitting off of him. And then you got Brady Tiger, and this stuff's as good as anybody from the right side. And if he stays healthy, he could have a great season for us. And there are some guys pushing for that third spot, or one of the first 3 spots. I don't know who. You could say, you have a 1 and then 2 number 2s, or however you want to look at it. But, Ben Bybee's one of them. Stuff has really improved. Throws a lot of strikes. We've got a couple freshmen that could also take that spot. I mean, Colin Fisher's a true freshman that throws nothing but strikes, has a really good changeup and a good breaking ball, and he also pitches left-handed. So I have no problem throwing him out there either.
Well, I could probably do another 2 hours here with you, Dave, but you got bigger things to worry about. What's the schedule this weekend? How many scrimmages, and when do you think it gets started?
Yeah, so the schedule on Friday, tomorrow looks good to be outside. I think we throw the first pitch at 3 o'clock, 3:05, something like that. And then Saturday, we have a big chance of rain. I don't even know if we've set a time on that yet. We were going to look at the weather again after the game today. Just the timing of the rain. We're going to try to go outside, but we're kind of thinking we might have to go inside and just use the indoor facility and still scrimmage. We just want Friday and Saturday's guys to stay on schedule. Sunday doesn't look great, so I think we're going to take Sunday off and have our third scrimmage on Monday, probably around 2:30, 3 o'clock. That'd be what we're looking at right now.
Dave, looking forward to it. Thank you so much. We'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, we'll see you guys. Thanks.
Dave Van Horn. We'll be right back.
Join ESPN Arkansas on halftime in supporting Arkansas Children's Northwest all month long. We will be raising money to help Arkansas Children's Northwest fulfill its promise of making children better today and healthier tomorrow. You can donate now through February 2nd online at hitthatline.com. Be sure to click on the halftime fundraising link brought to you by Heart to Heart Pregnancy and Family Care Center, serving mothers and families with open hearts. 452-2260 or online at hearttoheartpfcc.org.
Hello, this is Kevin Cowan at KC Insurance, and I just wanted to tell you all about plans that we have for Arkansans. It's through the Affordable Care Act, formerly known as Obamacare. Most Arkansans can qualify for a plan for $10 a month premium or below. We are located at 912 Highway 6265 North in Harrison, Arkansas, in the Ace Hardware Shopping Center. Give Ricky Cowan a call at 870-517-1207. Thank you.
This is halftime.
BetOnline is your number one source for all your betting needs. Get the latest odds, lines, and matchup reports for baseball, boxing, golf, and more. BetOnline continues to be the fastest and easiest way to place your wagers, including live betting and your favorite casino and card games available to play right from your phone. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and get in on the action. Remember to use our promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Bet online, where the game starts.